Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Yes. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Freddie Rivas, and tell them who you are, Matty D.
I'm the producer. What's going on?
Not too much. Feeling pretty good after a Raptor win over Orlando. It wasn't the most convincing win, but there's some good trends, I'd say.
Got a little nervous there in the fourth quarter when we were losing for a little bit. They had their, Orlando took the lead after they had a lead at when it was 9-6, I think, and then they took the lead right at the end of the game. So
yeah, it was kind of like our game, and then we almost flushed it away. But good old Kyle was like, absolutely not. I'm too goddamn competitive to lose to the Orlando Magic at home this early in the season.
Yeah, defending champs, they're going to win that game no matter what.
Matt, if people want to support us, if they want to help us, if they want to, make this podcast the number one podcast in the world, and yes, we're talking about peak Serial style,
Serial?
Like we want to be bigger than Serial. I've been saying Zach Lowe, but I think let's shoot higher.
We want to we want to be the biggest podcast ever. That's what you're
right.
saying.
I want to be bigger than the news. I want to be the news. I want to be bigger than Rupert Murdoch. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I know where you can do that, sir. And that's if you're listening to the podcast and you want to help us out and get that big, you got to go to iTunes. You got to give us a review. And you know what? If you're feeling like your fingers are tied, then you can just give us a 5-star rating. That's fine too. And,
hell yeah.
You can also do reviews on Stitcher if you're one of those listeners. I don't think you can on Player FM. I'm sorry, Freddie, but I don't think they have a scoring system yet.
That's okay. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a beta out soon or something. And when that is out, we'd prefer if people could try. It'd probably be click 4 chickens out of 5 or something.
Cheers.
That'd be a Player FM thing. We're on Facebook. If you're still down with Facebook, we're looking at late millennials and at Dunks Podcast on Twitter. We do have that fantastic YouTube channel. We get not many views, but we got 22 subscribers. So
and we're on Insta too, aren't we?
Instagram, baby? Yep, we're at Confederacy Dunks on Instagram, which we always post our episode artwork and other things that we, like Freddie's hot sauce that went out today. Stuff
Damn
like
right.
That.
And Matt, didn't you write an article this week?
I did. I've finally jumped into writing some content for Confederacy of Dunks. I've wanted to for a long time, and I've had a story about how it's called How I Got Pumped for Basketball, my story to becoming a hardcore Raptors fan, and discovering my inner JJ Barea. So, check that out on our website and have a read. It's a fun time, I think.
And we also have some big news with our Patreon account, don't we?
Yeah, we've got a Patreon account. It's at patreon.com/dunkspodcast. You can also go to our website. We have a link there that will get you to our Patreon. And the great thing about our Patreon is we do have our first patrons for Confederacy of Dunks. And with the Serge Ibaka tier, comes a special shout out to those new subscribers. So, Freddie, would you like to do the first one? That's
let's share. So
okay.
So I'll do my main connection.
Yeah.
I know him. I love him. Huge shout out to Marco. Marco's an amazing dude, and he's hopped on the Patreon. Tier Surge. Thank you, Marco. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Marco. You, I believe, were our first guest, episode 1. I think Marco was on. And so it's really nice to have your support all these years as a guest and as a fan. And thank you for contributing to the Confederacy of Dunks Patreon page.
My God. And we have not one, but 2 new Patreons. Is that right?
We do. We've got Eric and Jackie. Those are my parents.
Jackie. Huge.
They wanted to be the first patrons, and they ended up doing that. Big shout out to my dad, Eric. If you need Naga hide or any kind of fabric, check out ennisfabrics.com. They're the big name in textiles.
That's right. And if you want to get lost in Lake Simcoe, don't, because he'll find you and he'll bring you back home.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're wandering around in Lake Simcoe, he will be concerned, and he'll fire up the jet boat if you need help.
Cheers.
So thank you to Eric and Jackie.
He goes around saving people. Sorry, cut you off.
And just yelling at them too. He's a real stickler about boat safety.
All jokes aside, though, we just launched a Patreon, so it's hugely encouraging to have 2 people join right away. We super appreciate it, and we're gonna work hard to bring you the goods.
Yeah, we're gonna start putting a lot more Patreon only content and stuff too, so that you really feel like you're getting your money's worth, and eventually we'll just keep building and being able to put more into the podcast.
You're damn right. And the first thing we're going to do with these 2 Patrons is me, you, 3 more folks. I say we get on a boat and roll around Lake Simcoe. What do you think?
I can definitely set that up. Absolutely.
Do we have enough life jackets? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be a Patreon party that we set up every year, and all the patrons can come to Lake Simcoe, and we'll have a giant barge or something. I don't know.
That's good. That's good.
That's when the money flows in, we can do whatever we want, right? We'll be like
for sure.
Mark Cuban.
I think once we start getting like Jordan Peterson level money, I'm gonna have 2 or 3 Casalomas of my own.
Yeah. Which reminds me, we are going to start posting some videos. So as you mentioned, Jordan Peterson. So you gotta see the videos, right?
Hell yeah. Well, let's get to this pod, but I'll preface it quickly. We called Alex Pavone in Queens, not Brooklyn, and he's amazing. He's hilarious. We kind of just talked about the game and some early trends we've been noticing. And then I called my boy Alan Shane Lewis, and we kind of went around the NBA a little bit, but also just kind of reflected on the game, and it was pretty good conversations.
Yeah, 2 funny comedians, 2 of our favorite guests that we always have on. So yeah, it was a great chat.
Well, hell freaking yeah, buddy. Let's get popping. Here's my very first conversation with Alex Pavone.
Attention fans at the Scotiabank Arena. Stop what you're doing and give Bobby Webster some respect.
Okay, let's get this reaction, this Orlando Raptors reaction podcast going with the very first guest. I believe he's in Queens, even though maybe he just told me he's in Brooklyn, but I'm pretty sure he is in Queens. He's hilarious. He's obsessed with basketball, and he just told me he could name the 13th man on the Charlotte Hornets, which I think I do believe. Give it up at home for Alex Pavone. Alex, what's up, dude?
Dude, every podcast you say I live in Brooklyn. I swear to God, it's Queens. You want me to move to Brooklyn? I'll go. I'll do it. I mean,
this guy
out the wazoo. Queens
this
is
guy
cheap.
Hanging out in Brooklyn with Devontae Graham, Willie Hernan Gomez. He's chilling with Caleb Martin. He's chilling with Cody Martin. Twin brothers? I don't even know.
Are they both on the Hornets?
You better believe they are.
Oh, my Christ.
And
Nevada.
one makes under $1 million, and the other makes slightly over $1 million. So
both doing much better than me as I am taking this phone call in my roommate's on his bed. So
wow, you sound like you're pretty rich.
Yeah, things are going well for the Martins, and for the Pavones, not so hot.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's focus on the positive. Let's focus on the Raptors. I don't know what, eking out a victory.
Yeah, that was tough.
the NBA, it's a long season. You know, we blew out the Bulls. That was nice. We were cruising for a little while against the Magic, and that fourth quarter was just like a dead crawl. But it seems like we have that kind of pedigree to fight through games like this.
Yeah, I think last year helped. Obviously, winning a championship is going to help you with that stuff. But yeah, that first quarter, it was night and day from first quarter to the second quarter. First quarter, I was like, look at everybody stepping up, not hesitating, hitting all these shots, moving the ball, so confident. Second quarter, it was everybody was, shy to shoot, and they didn't really know what they were doing offensively. And what was it, like a 5-minute drought or something? Like they missed 11 shots in a row.
I don't know, but the Raptors shot, I'm just looking at the stats now, they shot 25% from three on the game.
Yeah.
And 40% from the field. So the shooting was rough. And Orlando shot even worse.
Yeah,
so,
no.
I think there was a lot of good defense in this game.
There was a lot of good defense, but I feel like Orlando was getting some decent looks, and they just, Gordon couldn't hit anything, and same with Vujacic or whatever. He was like 1 for 13 and stuff like that too. So we did get a little lucky. Today felt like one of those games where they could have beat us and we got lucky. I feel that way. And Lowry at the end of that second quarter and stuff, that was, thank God for that. He made those like last, those driving layups there at the end, or it would have been brutal. We might have not got a point at the end.
Lowry put on his cape for this game, because I feel like, OG seems like he's in the middle of kind of like a coming out party. I think Siakam is already starting to experience what it's like to get a ton of attention from the other team, and he's fighting through that.
Yeah.
Gasol's working through some rust. Ibaka's not going to stay hot forever, and it's almost like Lowry kind of like was looking around, and he was like, oh shoot, okay, this is one of my nights.
Yes.
This is one of the nights where we're going to win because of me. And he just he's got 26, 5, and 6. And he shot 7 for 18 from the field. He wasn't on fire, but he shot 3 for 11 from 3, which is pretty terrible. But I think he really forced the issue and got to the line. He went 9 for 10 from the free throw line. So in a way, that's the game,
Yeah, no, he made a couple of those like big shots when we needed them, or like late driving layups, and then that 3 at the end there in the fourth quarter when they were really again struggling in the fourth quarter. He hit that big shot. So he made like timely buckets, as they say, when you were like, oh, you needed that one at that time. So that was pretty big for him. But I love Siakam, obviously, but I think there was like a couple times in the second quarter. I think he stayed. When did he get back on? Like at the 5:30 mark or something?
He sat for a long time in the fourth, which, for the long haul is probably a really good thing, because he's
in the
played,
second too, though.
Yeah, he played 35 minutes tonight. So I don't know if that's foul trouble or if that's like maybe he's a bit tired. He did turn his ankle in the Bulls game, so it could just be one of those things where Nurse didn't want to push him to 40 minutes.
Yeah. There was like, I think towards the end of the second quarter, though, when we really needed a bucket, he wasn't really shooting or anything. He wasn't really trying to get his offense going. And that's like, if he's going to be the guy who leads us, you really want, him to at least get more aggressive offensively. That was the only thing I really noticed in the second quarter. Fourth quarter, he did take some more shots, and which is great. But yeah, I don't know. He just didn't, when we were in that drought, he didn't really get as aggressive as he could have. That was the only thing. But I mean,
no, I think that's pretty fair. Like, he's going to have to really, kind of like pick his moments where, he doesn't just score. Like, he can score in bunches, clearly.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to have to find those moments that really turn the game around. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously what makes someone like a super duper star. And I think he's on his way to being a superstar, but
I agree, man.
It's not just really putting up those giant numbers. It's getting like a key charge, or like just like hitting, in that Celtics game, I was like, oh shit, this guy is like,
legit.
hitting those 5 threes. I think it was
he's
4
legit,
in the quarter.
man.
It was like, okay, this guy is a superstar, starter in the Eastern Conference All-Star game type guy.
Yeah.
But I still think, kind of like what you were saying, I don't know if I don't know if it's fair to say that he gets rattled, but I do think he kind of maybe second guesses how he should make like a game-changing play. Like I think LeBron one time in an interview talked about how he tries to have whatever amount it was, like 7 to 10 game-changing plays every game, and those plays can come in like any form. It's just kind of like it's like what Lowry does. Like Lowry's his plays seem to, he draws a foul that is just a momentum killer, or something like the way he covered Ross at the end of the game. Yeah, no, that was he awesome. Knew he needed to eliminate that threat. You know what I mean?
I think with Siakam though, I mean, it's only the 4th game of the year too, and he's just not. It's going to take time for him to just be like, I am the guy right now, Because you could like get you passive and just stay on the perimeter and not ask for the ball, especially when like Lowry has the ball and Lowry's not going to be shy. He's going to put one up, especially in the 4th game of the year. It's not really a big deal, but I definitely loved OG's D today. That guy had like 5 steals and he had like a bunch of deflections and stuff like that.
Can I read you OG's stat line?
Please.
12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 steals, 2 blocks.
Yeah.
5 for 11 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a bulldozer. What the hell? That's amazing. Like this kind of, defensive coming out party that it's 2 games. Like, let's be chill about it. And he's 22 years old, so there's definitely going to be like up and down moments. But I really think that it's going to be a fun watch if he can keep it up.
No, I think so too. I mean, if he plays D like that, we're going to be fine. He's just so long, and he just plays like angles well and stuff like that. And he's disciplined too. Like he takes chances, but not crazy chances. Like he'll stick his arm in and like throw a shooter off, a little bit, but he's still, pretty disciplined and stuff like that. And with 5 steals, obviously you're like taking chances. So he's a big boy too, and he's like long and stuff. But the way he runs kills me. Like he runs like an old man. But how is he so athletic? Like he doesn't bend his knees.
Well, I think I know. It's kind of a good observation because he does. People used to say that Kendrick Perkins ran like he was wearing like army boots.
Yeah.
And like OG's not quite like that, but it's like he does run like he's wearing Doc Martens.
Yeah, he's got the Docs on for sure.
He's got the Docs on.
He's got a goth run to him.
Well, and he's or like even like he's so giant and so jacked, but he also does kind of run like he's wearing like a backpack. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he like is doing that, so that it's like an extra workout. Like imagine this whole time, we're like, oh OG, like what a fantastic like year for you, and he's kind of just like, oh, I'm actually training to be a Marine.
That's how he runs though. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
military like stride.
Well, I think he's it's funny how people can be similar dimensions and like totally different players, and he's not that much. Like he's maybe like an inch or 2 smaller than Pascal, and they're pretty similarly long. But OG is just like he's like a tree trunk. Like, and I think that's why his defensive upside is much higher because it's strength based, and I don't think that he needs to run around like a madman like Pascal does. Like I think his presence is just like, even those like kind of like Kawhi swiping hands, like I'm seeing some of that from OG, and I'm sure he studied Kawhi all year last year. Yeah,
for sure. No, he's definitely, I can't believe he got more jacked up, or like his shoulders look broader this year. OG, like he looks like a man this year, more so than last year, or maybe, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, I guess, but this year I'm like, God damn, the guy looks huge.
Excuse me, OG, my friend Alex wasn't paying attention last year. If you look like a man, but this year,
I didn't realize
he's noticed that you do.
Blades. I didn't realize those sexy shoulders, OG. But yeah,
OG,
man,
you have bowling ball shoulders, not quite Dwight level like bowling ball shoulders, but like you're going like 10-pin or 5-pin, bowling ball shoulders.
I can't believe Michael Carter Williams is still in the league. That guy stinks. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's a stinker.
Him and
he's a stinker.
Shot are just brutal. Oh my God.
Wait a second. I mean, I don't know if I'll talk about it with Alan, but I mean, I'm happy to talk about it twice. What'd you think of Fultz?
He was playing pretty well though. Like he had that crazy dunk, and he was like getting to the line and stuff. But like we also let him do that. Like why wouldn't we just play off of him and make him shoot? He hit 1-3 at the top of the key, and it was nasty. It was like not a good shot.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like nasty. Cool. Yeah, he went 1 from 4 from the 3-point line, but he went 6 for 11 in the game.
Yeah, no, he had a couple he made a couple plays at the rim and stuff, and he's obviously he can like dribble and stuff like that, but I don't know, just play off of him. Let him beat you with his jump shot because it looks awful.
Hey, what'd you think about us like honoring Terrence Ross? I
like Terrence Ross. I was like, if we had Terrence Ross again, I wouldn't be mad. I like Terrence Ross. He's really good. And he was always pretty, he did a couple dumb things when he was in Toronto. I remember these kids were shit talking him on Twitter, and he was like, yeah, I'll come to the park and play. It's like, bro, you make millions of dollars. Why don't you just shut your mouth? Like,
I love that that's like your major gripe. Your major gripe with them is like, listen, don't respond on people. Don't follow people on Twitter. Don't respond to them, and definitely don't go to the park.
Don't go to the park, bro. I'll show up to the park and I'll hound you. You don't want me D'ing you up. You don't want this old dog D'ing you up.
Your threat is realized by you actually participating.
Don't fucking say you're going to go to a park, buddy, and then make me show up and pull my hamstring. That's the last thing.
I love how practical your threats are, and they also involve you hurting yourself.
Yes. I'm banged up, Terrence. Don't tell me what location you're going to be putting up jimmies.
I mean, I'm always I feel like I've always been in the Terrence Ross like supporter group because he was such a hated Raptor, and I always felt like his contract was fair and it was obviously tradable. We got Serge. He was a very sought after free agent this summer, and Orlando kind of nabbed him. I think he would be fantastic on this team if you think about how desperately we need
a two.
Just like really consistent good 3-point shooting.
And, I agree. I think, I mean, he did sort of have like these great, like obviously he had that 50-point game, and he showed all these flashes, and then the next game he'd be inconsistent. That's why I think people just couldn't deal with him, because it's like, what are you doing on me?
I always felt like he was out of position because, we had DeMar, so we always had to play the 3, and like he just couldn't guard like Melo and, all the big guys of that era. But
that's true.
I think the reason I asked you that, I was curious because like he's kind of like a low-level Raptors guy to celebrate, but I feel like we're just a nicer, more accomplished franchise now, where maybe we don't need to be like so like bitter and curmudgeon-y. Like we can kind of just be like, hey, this guy was a Raptor for a while. We all love him.
I think winning a championship definitely helps with your kindness. Absolutely. And they're like honoring like Canadian guys too, like Kim Birch or whatever. Like I saw him on the Jumbotron. I got the stream, so I didn't get there was no commercials for me. I was watching the dance pack. I was watching 8-year-olds do backflips. There was a lot going on here. When you stream live, you don't get the commercials. But yeah, so I don't know. I think just the organization probably just a little bit more easygoing since we won. I think that helps a lot.
We're casual winners. You know what I mean?
Now we are casual winners. Yeah,
like at least until the wheels fall off, right?
They haven't yet, so we're gonna just keep celebrating. I don't think so.
Time's up, buddy. Do you have anything to leave? That's it, man.
Oh my God!
It goes fast.
That's it. That's the buzzer. Oh,
that's the buzzer.
Back to Brooklyn for me.
So back to Brooklyn. Take the L train. So Alex,
yes,
you're doing stuff all the time. What's what's the show people could catch you at? Do you have anything online? You need people to like pump the vote for Alex. Like
no more votes for Pav. But you can follow me on Instagram, Mr. Alex Pavone, and I'll give you updates. I do something called Pavy's Picks where I lose every game I bet on, and but I do it fun and I do it in a funny, creative way. If you want to see a grown man come out of a stove or hang upside down on an inversion table and take an under in a basketball game, that's me, Pavy's Picks, and my Instagram is Mr. Alex Pavone, Pavone.
Well, dude, it's a goddamn pleasure.
You're a pleasure.
Wherever you're staying in Brooklyn, I'm sure it's it's not all the way gentrified, and it's a really nice place, and I appreciate you, man.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. Thanks for calling me. Thanks for thinking of me. Matt, congratulations on the move, man. Way to go. You have a nice big lawn, and you water your grass or whatever people do with lawns.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And, yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
If you ever need someone to fucking come over and, like, landscape a bit, I could use an extra couple bucks.
Oh.
So enjoy the suburbs.
Sounds good, man.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
For the win!
Okay, I'm here with super guest of the pod. He's done it many, many times. I mean, I think at this point we can probably even get past the fact that he was in a dunk off with Sonny Weems and DeMar DeRozan, or we can't get past that because that's nuts and it will never stop being insane. I will get past him beating me in bump because honestly, a lot of things have happened since then. I've gotten married, I've gotten injured. Like me and Alan's relationship has grown. But without further ado, this guy's hilarious. He's just like absolutely killing it right now. He's on Second City Main Stage's show, which we'll plug at the end for sure. He's just an incredible dude. Give it up at home for Alan Shane Lewis.
I miss that music.
Yeah, buddy. How's it going?
It's going great. The Warriors are in a funk, and Raptors are winning. All praises to the basketball guys.
Oh, the poor Warriors. Did they win tonight though? Didn't they?
They barely beat the Pelicans.
I know.
Yikes!
It's just just good to watch them struggle.
I feel bad for the Pelicans.
Right.
I feel bad for the Pelicans.
We're at that
Pelicans. The Pelicans are just missing
Pelicans?
Zion. Once they get Zion, they'll get their 30 wins, and then that'll be the season.
Yeah. Fred?
Ha. Check this out, guys. I don't feel sorry for the Warriors. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought Matt said Fred. Like, it was one of those like, can I hear yous? I'm not feeling bad for the Warriors or the Pelicans. I'm just feeling good for the Raptors, baby.
It was a tough win tonight, It should have been a little bigger. Should have been bigger. Yeah, we're very lucky that Markelle Fultz was the other point guard on the other team because shooting was abysmal on their end, and we kept him under 40% for the entire game, so that was really good.
We kept them under 40. We also kept ourselves under 40%.
Ooh.
Because it was that bad of a shooting game. I'm just going to look at what they shot. Yeah, they shot 38% on the game, and we shot 39. I think mostly thanks to that fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, our second quarter was horrible. Like coming into that, first off, they just took away 3 points from us, and I was like, well, that's not a good start. And there was just a lot of settling for these threes that I get it. You guys were shooting at shooting at the lights in the first quarter, but take it to the rack. Let's get some free throws. Let's build from there.
Okay, honest question: if we played Matt Thomas, is the game even close?
Matt Thomas. You know what? No, man, we're beating them by 50. I see that man dropping a 50 deuce, if that's even a term.
It's been kind of fun to watch, these kind of micro adjustments by Nick Nurse. So this game, it was kind of like he gave the look to Pat McCaw. Mm-hmm. And Boucher got 4.5 minutes, but that was a small look because of foul trouble.
Yeah, well, he also needs just 50 more pounds. He's just kind of a defensive liability. Can't really have him out there.
Yeah, I thought maybe this was an opportunity for him to kind of like do something and show that like, hey, if there is a night where Gasol needs to rest or Ibaka needs to rest, like you can play me 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I feel like the Magic is kind of like the perfect team for him to, not get bodied by a guy. And he's still too weak. Like if Vucevic was out there, obviously he couldn't play. But with like Isaac out there and Gordon,
I still see Isaac and Aminu were bodying him, especially down low.
Totally. Like and those aren't strong guys. Like neither of those guys can body like OG.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing. That's great that you said that. Like one really plus side of this game was like OG. I love that intensity from him on both ends. That one player he tried to do a double pump, a reverse layup on a breakaway. Okay, we don't need that. But like,
okay, no, but wait, let's stop for a second because that play was both weird and hilarious. Like that to me is my NBA like alchemy. Like you're getting into some really cool shit. If it's like, okay, wait a second, what was that? And then you have to watch it a million times, and it just only gets weirder and funnier.
Yeah, that's like when you're playing like 2K and you stole the ball and you're on a breakaway and you're like, all right, front layup, and it does some reverse jam. You're like, no, don't do that. And then the computer blocks you and you're just oh.
The guy just like glitches out.
Yeah.
But sorry, I interrupted you. I think you're talking about like OG's kind of well-rounded game.
Yeah, it was just really nice to see. He was very aggressive on plays. He made a move, and then if that wasn't open, he switched on the fly and ended up with just different creative ways to score buckets. He was a great team player. He was an option at the end of when they're passing the ball around and getting a good three. And it was just really nice to see him just with some confidence in his game because he's a really good player, and we got him through injury, and he didn't get to play. And then last year he kind of was sidelined with injury again, and he also played behind Kawhi Leonard. So I think this is a good year for him, where this was a good step up or an opportunity for him to kind of show off what he has, and because he people forget he was touted very high coming in from the draft. It was just his injury that had him had let him fall to us, and people didn't think he could stick around for a whole season. But I think this is an opportunity for him to really show people what he can do.
Yeah, he was like a full-on Spurs pick for the Raptors because we got him at 20 maybe, or 25 or 26 or something. But But the Raptors kind of just waited around, and it was a scenario where it's like, oh, this guy tore his ACL, but he was supposed to go top 10, so you kind of have to take him. Yeah. And then we took him, and it was like, oh, he's not going to miss any time. And then he was basically so good that his rookie year in the playoffs, he was guarding LeBron James.
Oh yeah.
So
he has no fear.
Yeah, he's definitely has no fear. I mean, and proof of that is I think there's a really good clip. I think it's Markieff. Markieff pushes him and gets in his face, and he doesn't flinch or blink. Mm-hmm. And it's always one of those moments where if you watch that, you're like, okay, I think I could rob a bank with OG.
Nerves of steel.
But yeah, just going back to your point about having him at the top of the break and kind of shooting threes so comfortably, and also shooting at the end of the clock. That's something that I think, that takes a lot of confidence for a player not to look around. When they get the ball, there's 2-3 seconds left. I think when someone wants the ball, and they're ready to shoot it, it just makes such a big difference. You can always tell those micro kind of confidence, if there's any hesitation, you're probably going to miss. You can always see it with Serge. If Serge pump fakes once and then he goes up again, it's this is going to be a clanker. But if Serge gets it and he's locked in and he just goes for it right away, or how about Ross at the end of the game? Ross hit 1-3 all game, and when he hit that three, you knew it was going in because he was just yelling for the ball.
He was really feeling it, and it was cool to see Lowry kind of spot that and then get right up in his jersey for those last couple possessions. And as they said, make him feel real uncomfortable, and he was very uncomfortable going through that game.
Me and you clearly think alike, because I was saying that to Alex. I was like, that's the kind of this was one of those early Lowry games where Lowry was just kind of looked around and was like, absolutely not are we losing to Orlando at home right now. It's just not happening. We're going to win this game. Yeah. And he was just doing all those things. He was drawing fouls. He was kind of, looking explosive, driving, shooting without hesitation. And then, even at the end, he just was all over Ross, and he was all in Ross's space, like just making life unpleasant for him.
Yeah, it was so odd to see Steve Clifford's game plan of like going through Ross at the end there, and also through Fournier, when like I was the most afraid when Isaac had the ball. Like every time he had the ball, it almost felt like he just scored everything. I don't know how this box scored in front of me, but like I think he hit like a majority of his threes.
No, he was pretty good. I got the box score right here. So Isaac was 24.7 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 7 for 10 from the field, and 5 for 7 from 3. So he was incredible.
Exactly. So 7 for 10, and you're not going to feed, like, I think a lot, like, I don't know. It was weird. I guess they just don't have plays for him or something like that. Or is he like fourth on the totem of who's going to score or something like that? Because like Aaron Gordon didn't have a game, but I felt like Aaron Gordon always had the ball. I felt like Fournier had the ball a lot, and I felt like Markelle Fultz had a lot of shots. And I get, trying to like get that boy's confidence up, and it was great to see him, kind of show what he could do this year without the yips. But like, I don't know, I'd say feed the hot hand.
Yeah, the guy who was really chucking this game, or not chucking, but like had the really terrible shooting was Vucevic, who I think just is terrified of Marc Gasol. He went 1 for 13 from the field, so that's kind of the story of the game for them. But just kind of jumping on your Isaac point and like not feeding the hot hand, I think Orlando's maybe like early in on that process where they're not able to identify like, okay, this guy's feeling it. Or, it could be a thing where Clifford hasn't run enough plays for him yet. But I remember feeling that when Boston made that incredible run without Irving in the Eastern Conference. They made to the Eastern Conference Finals and, took Cleveland to 7. I remember thinking that they're not running enough plays through Tatum, and they're kind of just taking whatever good happens. Mm-hmm. And, to some extent, I even feel that about Siakam. I feel like he's so opportunistic that Nurse doesn't run a lot of plays for him, but I was starting to see more of those. But yeah, I think if I was an Orlando fan, I would want to see a lot of my resources or my development resources kind of like put onto Jonathan Isaac, because he definitely has that kind of like, I can do anything style game.
Yeah, he's just a tall body who's very confident, got good stroke, amazing stroke this year.
Man, his block Baca was nasty.
Oh yeah, and I think he got a Baca back after Baca got him, but I don't know. Actually, Baca got Mo Bamba. Never mind. But yeah, he's just a very long player, and he covers a lot of ground on the offensive end and defensive end, and. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to be what he is. And people kept saying that this is who he is. And, it's good to see this year him actually showing those people that they're right.
Yeah, he was definitely getting a lot of that. Like, he's the next Pascal Siakam, which I find is always so tough for any player to just get, like, to have a comp that's so near you in the NBA, like, as far as, like, age and all that kind of stuff. It's like, players are they're a bit more different than that, And I think with such an elite league, something I always say, the NBA has the least amount of players. Mm-hmm. I think it's even less likely you're going to get like duplicates. So, Isaac's going to be his own thing. Mm-hmm. I think he's also quite a bit longer than Siakam, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like he's a true 7-footer.
He definitely seems like it. And I think the thing that's surprising me looking at is his stat line tonight. Is like, I didn't realize he was like just like on fire from 3, because Orlando shot, I'm looking at it right now, they shot 30% from 3 on the game. So like, a little bit better than the Raptors, but pretty terrible. Like, they hit 12 threes and he hit 5 of them. So yeah, I think maybe Orlando does need to focus on Isaac a lot more. Because why are you going to roll out a guy like Augustine if you're a developing team like Orlando, like, or I mean, like, why are you going to give him so many possessions? Like, kind of doesn't really.
Yeah, like I understand giving those veteran guys those moments, especially in playoff series, but yeah, you're trying to win this game. You have a guy who's like clearly got that on it. Let's play through him. And Oh crap! That was another point I wanted to make. I'm sorry, I got very distracted by the Portland San Antonio game.
Where's that action? So what's going on there? We got Spurs up by 3. Ooh.
Yeah, they missed the 3-point shot that went in and out to tie the game. Trailblazers, so it's over. Spurs won.
Ooh, so Spurs eliminate the Blazers. Wait, Blazers. Yeah, so that was their first loss. So there's so there's a couple more teams hanging in there. We got Spurs, Nuggets, Hawks, and
Hawks lost tonight.
Oh, Hawks lost to the Sixers. So it's basically Sixers, Nuggets, and Spurs.
Yeah,
those are our undefeated teams.
It's wide open this year. This is such a wild year. I'm so excited for it.
Oh man, yeah. Just kind of back to like where we started with G State. They are, they won tonight. But it's kind of nice seeing this league where, you know, you can go ahead and pick your favorite. You can say this team's going to be there at the end, but every team needs luck. Every team needs development. Every team needs health. The NBA just does not have an overwhelming juggernaut like G State. Like there's nothing even close to that.
Yeah, man, balance has been restored, you know. And even like a team like Milwaukee, who I really thought would be running away with this, they don't look head and shoulders above everybody. Like I don't know. It's interesting to see how just a couple missing pieces from that roster kind of changed the chemistry and a lot. Just because, yeah, like I like losing Brogdon like that. Like I don't know, is it just Brogdon? I'm trying to, you know, I'm because like tonight they had some struggles trying to blow or take away their lead. I watched so many games today. I just kept jumping. Like I had one on the TV.
Yeah, they ended up beating Cleveland by a fairly healthy margin.
Was it healthy? Again, it was like 10 points for a bit.
They won 129 to 112. So, you know, but I mean, again, it's Cleveland. So
yeah, but it was like, yeah, I thought they would kind of like, you know, smack Cleveland out of the waters. And
well, we're almost out of time. So I'm gonna leave you with one take, but I'm gonna say that the team that I think, or you know, that I thought was gonna do really well, and it's very early, but I think they can really kind of eke out some wins on a regular basis is the Sixers. I feel like the Sixers are going to have a lot of ugly wins. People are going to say, you know, their win margin's not that big, but I think they're a team that can just get a stop when they need a stop. I mean, we'll see how their health holds up, but 3-0. So the Sixers are my team that I'm kind of like, I could see them getting off to, you know, first 15 games, first 20 games, kind of like having like maybe 2 or 3 losses.
Yeah, I could see them definitely grinding out a win because defensively, like, how do you get into that key? How do you get a rebound, an offensive rebound?
Exactly. And I'm sure they'll be blown out a couple times too, where it's like, you know, they can't kind of climb back. But if the game's close, I could see them being a team that are really hard to, you know.
I also think they just need shooting. Once they get shooting, I think it's pretty much over for them.
Yeah. Well, so Alan, give me one more basketball take, either on this game or just in general, before we kind of sign off.
One more basketball take. Anthony Davis, I need you to step up and not let LeBron have to take over games. I'm going to need you to be the player that you claim to be. I'm going to need you to silence the haters. I'm going to need you to bring a chip to L.A. And also, CJ McCollum, why don't you go to the Lakers? Why not? That'd be a great city for you. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, this seems so personal that I can only assume both of those players are on your fantasy team.
They're not.
Okay.
They're not. No, I just want LeBron to fade into the sunset with one more ring, one more championship.
I know. I want him to do that, but like, come on over to the Raptors. You know what I mean? Because it's so hard to square LA and LeBron. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I thought it would get easier over time, but now I'm just like, but I still hate LA. You know?
Yeah.
But dude, yeah, that's it for the time. Thanks for doing the pod.
Oh, thank you for having me always.
Let's do a little bit of plugging. Like, so your Second City main stage show, like, you know, I mean, if people don't know where Second City is, like, it's a pretty easy Google, but why don't you tell people, you know, where to find you or what's going on? You find me on social medias at Alan Shane, ALAN SHANE, and the Alan Shane on Twitter, I believe. And I'm at Second City Tuesday to Sunday. We have shows there every night of the week. We just wrote a show
came out October 10th. It's called If I Could Throw Back Time. It's a fun one. So come on out and see some comedy. Why not?
Hell yeah! Go support this goddamn rising star. And here's a little promise from me to everyone who listens to this podcast. If you go see Alan at the main stage show, guess what? Sonny Weems is going to be there. DeMar DeRozan is going to be there.
These are facts. These are straight facts.
These guys don't have careers.
Did they get rid of the improv set and it's just a dunk off that you have to do every night?
Oh, I love it. It's
really
about listening to what they're doing as dunking, and what they do is true. What else is true? You can do a 360. Why not a 720?
Totally. Like you might see a couple yes ands, but then if Alan shows up, you might also see a couple no buts. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Sweet dude. Thanks for hopping on.
Oh man, thank you guys for having me. Always a pleasure.
Basketball.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.